Are you ready for the quantum age?
Humanity's next step in evolution?
Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network invites you to the extraordinary platform of evolutionary voices for the quantum age.
Let's explore. Learn more about this upcoming age where we bridge science with spirituality.
Where potentiality meets reality.
Where we take compassion into action.
Our trailblazers and visionaries will ask the whys, the what-ifs, while igniting continuous possibility.
Come along with us into an age beyond what we know today, where we can grow together in unity consciousness.
Experience evolutionary voices for the quantum age, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern on Dreamvision7Radio.com.
Welcome to Awakening to True Happiness with modern-day mystic David Hoffmeister, offering you the how-to to spiritual awakening by addressing on a practical level answers to your deepest questions. David Hoffmeister is a world-renowned teacher of A Course in Miracles and has been traveling the world for the past quarter of a century, offering his wisdom to audiences wherever invited. On this show, you'll hear recordings of David's best live talks, inviting you into an experience of deep wisdom and true clarity. To learn more about David, visit his website at davidhoffmeister.com. Awakening to True Happiness with David Hoffmeister is part of Evolutionary Voices for the Quantum Age, heard Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern on the Dreamvision 7 Radio Network.
There was a time when I was starting to look closer into prayer, and I started to realize the power of prayer, and I started to think to myself, whenever I want anything from this world, it sure seems that the world wants something from me. And I thought, that must be how prayer works. If giving and receiving are the same, whatever you want from this world, the world will seem to act out that thought, and it will seem to demand something of you. It will seem to demand something be a little bit different. I know there's been some questions written in too. Lainey, I see you there. You had your follow-up question about coming into the kingdom retreat and getting really clear in your mind that you have a little difficulty in centering and connecting and going deeper, if your mother seems to be there or in the same room. And then I read the whole thing about how you booked it to be there with your friend, and then all of a sudden it came back, your room confirmation, and your mom's in the room again. It's like, wait a minute, am I people pleasing? Am I people pleasing here to draw forth an effect like that? Mom in the room with my friend and I. But in the end, what we have to do when we start to look at prayer and people pleasing is how subtle that is. How subtle it is. Because why? Because the context I was sharing with you today is that everything is a decision in the mind. And that when I judge something in form, something specific, let's say like the arrangement of the sleeping arrangement of the room arrangement, how did I get stuck in a family room? Whatever. If I judge the form, then I'm basically saying, well, the specific is not really what is best for me. It's like saying, I know what's best, and that isn't it. That's a bad arrangement, And ultimately, we have to start to realize the power of our mind and the power of our decisions, that when we make a judgment about anything in form, this is even a hypothetical event that's happening in October. It doesn't matter. It could be anything. When we make a judgment, we're presuming somehow that we know best. We know something. And I guarantee you that knowing is based on the past. It's not like knowing God. It's like knowing something from the past. And when we think we know something from the past, we have an expectation that the future should look a certain way, that the form should look a certain way, that we know what the best outcome is. When I was going through practicing the Course, and I would watch my mind, and I would just see these habitual judgments happening over and over and over and over. And I would read the Manual for Teachers, How is Judgment Relinquished? And I'd pray to Jesus, please lift this burden of judgment from my mind. I've got all these expectations, and they just go on and on and on. Your expectations are coming from where? From your self-concept, which is the ego. It's not your real self. Your Christ self doesn't have any expectations at all. Your spirit doesn't have a single expectation. Your worldly identity is David, and this identity of a self-concept is filled with judgments and expectations. Could you summarize that, Jesus? That's that's a sweeping statement. Yeah. He said, basically, whenever you think something should be different than it is, that's an expectation. That's one expectation that you would do well to release, that things would be better if they were different. Oh my gosh. That's a sweeping that's a sweeping expectation, that things would be different. Do you have a cure for that? Is there some wisdom that you might share? Yeah, let all things be exactly as they are. Oh yeah, that's the correction of that. All things work together for good. There are no exceptions except in the ego's judgment. Oh yeah, that's a correction for that. Yeah, it seems like you have told me about this correction thing. So ultimately, you hear me talk a lot about people-pleasing and the nuances of people-pleasing. The nuance is that when you are very still, when you are into the gift, when your prayer is tuned into the gift, and you're in that thank you, even Ho'oponopono had 4 parts to it, but if you just stay in I love you and thank you, you don't even need I'm sorry, please forgive me. If you just go into the gift of gratitude, thank you, I love you, if you go into that, can tune into that, then you find that the expectations are gone. And that you're not pleasing any person. You're not pleasing this person or that person or any person. Some of you might even remember in the Bible it said, God is no respecter of persons. Isn't that a lovely line from the Bible? God is no respecters of person, because God is not into masks. God's into revelation, revealing the Christ, revealing the Spirit, revealing the truth. That's what God is, totally 100% revealing. God isn't into masks. God isn't into secrets. God isn't into hiding. But the personality self is into mask. It is persona. It's a mask. It's into hiding. It's all these things, secrets, these things that block the light, that block the truth, are all just self-concept expectations. So I think in answer to your question, Leni, it's like when you give it over, when you surrender and you say, show me the way, what you're really asking for is a state of acceptance. You want to reach a state of acceptance. Jesus says, without judgment, everything is totally acceptable. Wow, what a gem. Without judgment is everything totally acceptable. Wow. So what that means is you're tuning into your guidance, and the guidance is going to be, I'm going to the gift, what are the echoes, the overtones, the harmonics? If there's anything you want me to know, Holy Spirit, about this this Into the Kingdom retreat, if there's anything you would have me say, do, I'm going to show up there. I'm going to show up there in openness, and I'm going to be in this attitude of, you lead me. I'll step back, you lead the way, you guide me, you show me. When I was stuck in these expectations and these judgments, I prayed to Jesus. I said, you're going to have to help me here. This is like a bad habit I seem to have, and I don't know how to stop it. And like I've talked about, how do you stop a runaway freight train? You don't. You actually have to have a new. You're not going to stop a runaway freight train that's going down the mountain. You need help. You need help in your mind. What help did I get? When I was going through this, even questions about people pleasing. Am I people pleasing here? Am I just doing this for approval? Am I compromising in my journey here, Jesus? Can you show me? Can you lead me the way? He guided me into the text of A Course in Miracles, into the setting the goal section. And he said, now I want you to go through this setting the goal section with me very carefully, because I want you to have the purpose out front. What's your purpose? Is your purpose joy? That's okay. Happiness, peace of mind, whatever. Whatever that purpose is, call it whatever you want. I want you to have that out front like a torch. And the reason it's so important to have that out front is because that's the only way this is going to work. If you keep your purpose in the forefront of your mind, if you keep your purpose out front, he says you will perceive everyone and everything in this situation as contributing to your purpose. So imagine we just have this thing called sleeping arrangement for Into the Kingdom retreat. And you're going to say, yeah, you're right, Jesus. I'm not really that concerned. I want the connection. I want the love. I want to feel the love. You're right. That's what I want. That's really the prayer of my heart. I want to feel connected and joined. I want to feel in love with myself and with everyone. And if I hold that purpose out in front, when I go to this retreat with that purpose out in front, I'm going to experience what that purpose is. And I'm going to see everyone, including as completely contributing to that purpose. I'm going to perceive everyone in the situation of the whole retreat, including my sleeping room, as contributing to my purpose, just by my willingness to put the purpose out front. I'm not going to put the convenience and the comforts of the body of Lenny out front. I'm going to put the happiness, the peace of mind, the joy out front, and I'm going to trust that everyone and everything plays their part perfectly. And I thought, wow, I'm going to have to practice that. I'm really going to have to practice that, because that is not the way I'm looking at the world. And Jesus is like, yeah, I know you're not, but you ask for to be freed from judgment, so I'm giving you a way to do it. So I did. I practiced it every time I would go anywhere. I would say the prayer from, I'm here only to be truly helpful. I would put that purpose. I would focus my mind on that. And I started to realize that I was becoming so content and so relaxed and so happy and so joyful. And it didn't matter what was happening. It didn't matter at all what was happening, because I was trusting that everybody was contributing perfectly. If somebody screamed and shouted, that was part of my peace. I was actually including in everything in the situation. I was including it all in. And I wasn't trying to judge any of it, push some of it away. Oh, I would have been happy if this person hadn't showed up, or if this person had kept their big mouth shut, then I would have been happy. I wasn't